What's going on, everybody? Let's talk about the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show. I'm just kidding. We're talking about Epstein files. I really don't give a shit about what's going on in the Super Bowl. We got bigger things going on. This stuff, as we go every day, more and more evidence, you want to call it that, more emails, more developments in the story, and it seems like we're finally getting to some juicy stuff. Me personally, said it before, I'll say it again, I won't be happy until I see some people getting criminally charged. Hopefully that's the way we're heading. Do I think that's where we're heading? Not likely, I would say. So keep the hopes up. Obviously, anybody who did these heinous things that almost certainly happened at this point, I think it's pretty evident to everyone involved. Anybody paying attention, anybody watching and listening, that there was obviously some insane shit going on in the background, and people need to answer for it. I don't care who they are, their political persuasion, their status, it doesn't matter. Everybody who did something wrong and it's provable, take them down. That being said, both sides, as all these files come out, the emails mainly come out, both sides are just pointing the finger one at the other, basically. Hey, if I'm Republican, look at what the Democrats did. If I'm Democrat left, look what Trump's doing. It doesn't matter. If they did something wrong and you can prove it, which sadly a lot of these emails seems hard to prove, I guess it's more just like circumstantial, like, hey, that seems odd. It's not like the most obvious. They're not like saying, I did this horrible thing on this date and here's photo evidence or whatever. So I don't know if much can be proven just from an email, but obviously people's reputations are going to get tarnished by this if their names are released, as they should. I think if it's all in the court of public opinion, but I mean, when it comes to this kind of stuff, if it looks bad enough and you don't have a good enough explanation and you go down for it, I don't think anybody really gives a shit. Nobody's going to cry over that. The problem, there are people saying, hey, just release it all, which I think was originally proposed back by Khanna and Massie, who have today and yesterday have been going to the DOJ and looking at the unredacted version of these files, basically looking through the files. And that's where the juicy parts are coming out, basically, where they're like, hey, they're redacting names. Like, here's a couple places you're redacting names that shouldn't be redacted. There's millions of files in here. I'll give them that. There's tons and tons and tons of evidence, it seems like, that they're trying to sort through. But it's like, hey, it's the FBI. It's the DOJ. Like, you guys have enough staff. Put enough people on this. This is like priority one for the most part. Like, get it done and do it correctly to the best of your ability with minimal mistakes. It's what needs to happen. As of right now, we're not seeing minimal mistakes. We're seeing lots of mistakes. And like I said, Massie kind of seems like he's leading the way, and Khanna, one's Republican, one's Democrat. I'll give them all the credit in the world that they're pushing hard to be like, hey, this needs to be unredacted. Like, we need everybody who doesn't deserve to be redacted as a victim. Or I'm no lawyer, but I do know there's some parts of this where it's like, hey, if there's an active investigation and they basically sway the public opinion by releasing things that are a part of an active investigation, they're going to prosecute somebody, they can kind of use that as a way to wiggle their way out of these charges. So maybe they're doing that. If you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, I personally don't. It seems like there's definitely some people in here that they're just redacting to cover for them, just by the fact of obviously who knows who, and it's a who's game of the politics and the billionaires and the influential people at the top level of the society, not just in the United States but globally. Like I said, they went in there yesterday and today and looked at files. Yesterday and earlier today, Khanna went onto the House floor basically and listed off these 6 names. 5 of them, I have no idea who they are. The one that they put a lot of emphasis on was the Sultan from the Middle East, basically, who's a CEO of a large company over there. He's the one, if you remember, the email where everybody's like, the email basically said something like, I loved the torture video, and everybody's like, why are we redacting this person's name? Like, this obviously is a person who's involved in some way, in like some sick way. Like, the same thing. I don't know if you can't charge the guy over saying, I love the torture video. Like, if you don't have the video of what he's talking about, you can't really do anything about it. In theory, I mean, we all grew up, if you're roughly my age, we all grew up on the internet, sadly, where you can just go watch somebody be beheaded or some insane shit. Like, it was all available. And maybe you're some just sick person that enjoys watching that, and you email it to your buddy, and then he emails it back and says, yeah, that was awesome. It's like, okay, that's insane, but you can't really charge him for it, I don't think. But obviously, if there was some sexual crime against a minor and it's like a criminal offense in the United States or its territories or whatever, if it's on the island or wherever it was, and they're like, hey man, that was sick, it's like, all right, take these two motherfuckers, take them down. One's dead, obviously Epstein's gone now, but if you believe it, I guess there's some stuff about that. Maybe we won't talk about that here in this video, but a tangent for some other time. But obviously this guy, it's like, if you can prove that, extradite that guy and bring him over here and fucking charge his ass. Simple as that. Now, that's the other thing. If they redacted his name because they plan on charging him and they had it unredacted and now they can't use it as evidence or something, there's levels to the game. I'll give you that. But also, if you release this name, it's like, their life should be over, in the sense of like, hey, if you can give me more than just text and an email and link some things together and you have some real evidence, and if you just put it out, publish it through some reasonably authenticated sources, in my mind, their life should be over, in the sense like public opinion should just cast them out. They should be ostracized completely. The big name that came out of this is basically Wexner. Leslie Wexner. Les Wexner. I'm from Ohio personally. If you don't know who this person is off the top of your head, I went to Ohio State. You go down to Ohio State, and the medical center, the entire hospital that's connected to the college at OSU, all is the Wexner Medical Center. Donated tons of money to the college itself. Basically, New Albany, there's a suburb of Columbus, Richie Rich suburb. He kind of runs shit over there, as far as they have their own little commission that's his son or whatever is on the board of, where they get to determine what kind of building styles and all this kind of stuff. Weird billionaire shit. He has this whole mansion out there in outside of New Albany, outside Northeast Columbus. And his name was redacted. Why? There's literally no reason to redact his name. He's not a victim. Pretty obviously, allegedly, he is one of these people that was partaking in this fucked up stuff. Whether it's on the island or not, doesn't really matter. He's the one who gave Epstein, gifted him some multi-million-dollar mansion in New York and all these things. This guy's pretty obviously involved somehow, and they redacted his name. Hey, now it's unredacted. Can you charge him with a crime over it? Probably not, but I don't know. Well, I should have looked at Victoria's Secret stock today and see if they took a hit over it. He's not the CEO anymore, but I believe he's a huge share owner. There is levels to this where it's like, these people are so intertwined. It's like I said, it's worldwide. It seems like there's people from the UK involved, high level people. The prince that's no longer the prince, the one guy that was their head of their parliament or an envoy of some kind. It's everywhere. There's people in the Middle East. There's obviously the people in the United States. Obviously, people are like, hey, is Trump involved one way or the other? We'll get into that. I know the last thing I saw when I was looking at X today was Joe Rogan's in the Epstein files in the best way you could think possible, it seems, at this point, so far from what I've seen. Is basically, he had a person on his show in 2017. This person associated with Epstein basically reached out to Rogan and said, hey, would you be willing to meet with him, have dinner with him? And from what I've seen and heard is Rogan basically Googled Epstein and was like, are you fucking nuts, dude? I'm not hanging out with this guy. Like, I don't want to meet. I don't want anything to do with this. So good on Rogan for that. Nobody's favorite podcast has to go down today, I guess, over it. But there's one positive, I guess, we get out of this. Trump obviously is like target number one that anybody who disagrees with him wants him to go down over this. The problem is, as of right now, there is an FBI report basically, and the Speaker of the House, there's a little video. If you go look for it, you can find it pretty easily on X, where he's talking about the ongoings currently, and he insinuates Trump was an FBI informant on Epstein at one point. So I don't know if that's been proven or not, but it's kind of weird that he said that. Or maybe he's going to claim he was talking about somebody else, something. Who knows? We'll see where that goes. And it's the same thing. Like, if you can prove Trump's involved, take the motherfucker down right now. If you can't prove he's involved, take everybody else down that you can prove is involved. And if it looks bad enough and you can't charge him, let the cards fall where they may. Otherwise, there's obviously people just twisting everything they possibly can. I try to avoid doing that when I talk on this YouTube channel, just because it's just annoying, honestly, to me when people just blatantly lie, and then you go like, holy shit, look at the headline. Then you open the article and you go, oh, okay, they just completely took it out of context. I never want to see a single thing you've said ever again. And they never admit their mistakes, and it's on in a terrible circle. So the thing that I saw, the main hubbub about Trump right now is, in 2006, apparently he was talking to a Palm Beach sheriff, I believe, somebody with the Palm Beach police or the sheriff, and he's basically saying, hey, everybody knows what he's been doing. Like, I'm glad you're pursuing this guy. What does that mean? I mean, if he knew what was going on, which he's claimed later that he had no idea that Epstein was involved with like underage girl, like the sex trafficking and all that stuff, that was, as he's been president past obviously in the last term, this term and the last one, he claimed he has no foreknowledge. But at the same time, back in 2006, apparently he said, hey, everybody knows what's going on. He's basically saying this dude's doing some weird shit. We're glad you're going after him. Palm Beach and Bondi, and I don't really have time to go into the whole, and I'm no Epstein scholar either as far as knowing exactly all the intertwined pieces of this puzzle. It's massive. So I feel like unless you got all day to think about it, there's no way for you to possibly know. Basically they're trying, obviously the right is trying to exonerate Trump as far as this goes, and the left is trying to say, oh, look, the X account literally called The Democrats or whatever, Democrats, with thousands of likes on the thing and thousands of retweets, basically goes, Trump admits he knew what Epstein was up to. And it's like, all right, then you go look at the quote and it's like, I'm glad you're good, go after this guy. I'm glad you're going after him. And then he calls Maxwell evil later on in the same portion of the article. And it's like, all right, dude. And then at the same time, Ghislaine's over here getting a cushy prison sentence and asking for a pardon, and she'll blow the lid off the whole thing if Trump pardons her. I don't know. This is in the worst way possible. Like, obviously, we all wish none of this ever happened, but at this point, this is like insanely interesting just because it's like, we need to know what happened. Will we ever know the whole truth? No. I hope we know the bare minimum we need to know to be like, anybody involved obviously has to be stripped of all power. Get them out of society. Like, these people are the lowest of the low. Just get rid of them. You got to have proof, though. And that's the stumbling block, obviously. That's the hard part. We all know that these files have been around for a while. The weirdest part of the whole thing is, obviously, people are like, well, Trump's going to go down over this. It's like, dude, as far as I can tell and have seen, there's no mention of Biden in these files or anybody really in his circle. Biden's DOJ had control of this the entire time during the last presidential term. They didn't release any of it. How come? And it's like, people call it the deep state, whatever, like the establishment, whatever. It's pretty obvious that's what's going on. These people are all interconnected. Doesn't matter what political party or whatever. The powerful people in the country, whether it be through wealth or political power or both, obviously some of them at the very tip top have a common agenda, and that is keep this shit under wraps. Seems like it might be unraveling a little bit. Let's hope it does, because obviously all these people deserve to go down with the ship and burn for anything they did if you can prove that they did something actually wrong and criminal. To the fullest extent, prosecute these people to the fullest extent. Obviously, I think everybody agrees with that. Otherwise, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like on the video if you got something out of it. Go look at some of this yourself. It is, like I said, it is interesting. Dislike it if you didn't. And let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you tomorrow.